My goal in this video is to teach you exactly the step-by-steps required for you to start earning a full-time income on Etsy without ever touching any products. Yes, it's selling print-on-demand products. Not to worry, I'm going to share with you exactly how print-on-demand works and different suppliers that you can work with. Overall, the goal here is for you to have all the step-by-steps required for you to have a profitable print-on-demand Etsy store by the end of this video. And I'm going to share what has worked with me. I'm also going to share where you should be spending time and what are time suckers. So the first one is branding and store creation. I'm going to walk you through everything that's important. For instance, I don't want you to spend lots of hours creating a logo. Then we're going to discuss print-on-demand suppliers that have high profit margin products. It's all about ensuring that you're selling products that have a high perceived value. So something that feels expensive. Then I'm going to break down how you can effectively research and find products that are in high demand on Etsy. Then we're going to discuss design and how to upload listings that are going to attract your customers on Etsy. And finally, how you're going to start getting traffic to your Etsy store. But before we do all that, I wanted to share some common mistakes and break some myths, things that I see that are being propagated on social media and really trigger me when I see them. First and foremost is this idea that you need to create a niche store. Now, niche stores are great. However, when you're starting out, it's actually hindering you simply because you're still trying to understand where there's opportunities in the marketplace. And it's going to be easier for you to test multiple products in multiple categories, whether it's metal art, jewelry, canvas, t-shirts. If you decide to sell t-shirts, like you can have it all under one store and test to see where there's opportunity in the Etsy marketplace. The second thing is this idea of selling low margin products, such as digital downloads. Now, I'm not hating on digital downloads. They're great. However, selling a $5 digital download does not do you any justice. I'd rather have you spend your time in selling products that have higher profit margins, and more on that later. I also see a lot of individuals who are simply copying the competition. It's important that when you are putting print-on-demand listings out there, that you are finding a differentiator. How are you coming into the marketplace and differentiating yourself from everyone else on Etsy? Another common mistake is that I see a lot of listings that have low quality search engine optimization for Etsy. Not to worry, I'm going to share exactly what is needed for you to have a listing that is great for search engine optimization, whether it's including descriptions with tags and search items that people are actively searching for. Not to worry, we're going to cover all that. But most importantly, what really triggers me is this concept that you need to have a niche store when you're starting out. Please don't listen to that advice. It's absolutely not true. So the reason I personally love print on demand and Etsy is because it's beginner friendly. Now, there's plenty of other business models out there, and they do work, whether it's having a Shopify store with print on demand. But the reason I love Etsy is because there is very low startup cost. You're only spending 20 cents every time you upload a listing, right? You can set this up within an hour. You don't need to set up a fancy website or download a theme from Shopify, etc. And understanding how you're going to create a landing page that's going to convert. Etsy has done the work for you. Additionally from that, people trust Etsy. They actively go on Etsy looking for gifts. So it's easier to start with Etsy because you can easily test where there's a need in the marketplace. You don't need a website. You don't need any inventory because you're working with print-on-demand suppliers that have all these products available, and they're going to print it with your design and ship it directly to your customer. When you're starting out, you don't necessarily need marketing because Etsy is a powerful search engine, meaning people actively go on Etsy to purchase gifts. So now I'm not saying you don't ever need marketing. However, when you're getting started, it's mostly important to understand where there's a demand in the marketplace, etc. So how does print on demand works? Well, print on demand works is that you essentially will work with a supplier. You'll integrate their app to your Etsy store. The customer is going to buy your product, which you have customized because it's going to have your design. So in this case, let's say that you're selling a t-shirt. The print-on-demand supplier is going to provide you with a blank canvas. Then you're going to create your design. And then the print-on-demand supplier is going to download the artwork that's tied to your listing, and they're going to ship that item directly to your customer. So for instance, in the case of Shineon, you'd be selling a jewelry product for $49. The base cost is going to be about $9 without shipping. Your profit margin would be about $40. So this is why it's so important to sell high profit margin products like jewelry. And now there's plenty of other print-on-demand suppliers that you can work with, not to worry, I'm going to share the list. But personally, I love Shineon because it's just really beginner friendly. You can sell these items for $49 to $52 because you're selling cubic zirconia diamonds. So obviously it has a high perceived value. People feel like it's expensive, right? So the base cost of something like that would be $9. So you're having margins that are anywhere between $35 and above, depending on how much you price the item. So overall, as well with jewelry, the return rate is less than 1%. Now, there's a lot of things that you can do on your Etsy store to avoid returns, especially because these orders are made to order. And Etsy customers usually understand that they're dealing with sort of handmade and made to order. But overall, the return rate is less than 1%, simply because you're not dealing with wearable. The suppliers are usually in the US, and they also have factories in Europe or all around the world, depending on which supplier you work with. And the other thing that I love about starting with Etsy is that you don't need a business when starting out. You don't need an LLC. You can start out with a W-8 if you're based in Europe, or W-9 if you are in the US. So you're working as a sole proprietor. Why does the following not matter when you start out? Because you want to ensure that you start getting sales, and it's most important for you to upload listing and spend time on your store versus creating an LLC, which is going to cost you money. So I rather you start putting the work up front. Once you start making $10,000, $5,000 to $10,000, then you can start creating your LLC. Etsy is not saturated. More and more people are going on Etsy to actively shop. Overall, the issue is that most Etsy sellers are not solving a problem, and they're uploading listings or products without really understanding whether or not people are actively searching for them. So for instance, it's like me coming up with an idea that like, oh, I want to sell this t-shirt and put a random design and hope that people are going to purchase it. That's not how it works. Etsy overall has 96.3 million active buyers. And like I've mentioned, these numbers continue to increase. Additionally from that, when you are selling on Etsy, people trust Etsy. So unlike popular belief, yes, having reviews help. However, when you're starting out and you don't have reviews, that's actually not going to affect the sales of your shop like some might have told you, because people actively trust Etsy and they know if there's any problem, Etsy has their back. So this is another reason why selling print on demand on Etsy is such a beginner-friendly business model. Needless to say, another thing a lot of people forget to mention is that print on demand is a great way for you to scale with half the cost and start building a brand for the future. So Cron & Paw is a brand, for instance, that sells personalized pet portraits, and they have gotten a lot of their inspiration actually from Etsy sellers and created their own brands. Big Wall Decor is another example of something that could have been started simply by doing print on demand, as they sell poster and Canva art. Cassetify as well. They sell iPhone cases is how they started. And this is, again, a business model that could have been started with print on demand. So this is something a lot of people forget to mention, is that Etsy provides you with a platform for you to test those ideas at a fraction of the cost, because you don't have to build a website. You don't have to put all this money into creating inventory, creating your own product, etc. You can test all this on Etsy. And once you start getting traction, then you can flush out and create a brand. And these three examples are perfect examples of what can be done. So without further ado, let's get you started so you can start creating your Etsy store. First and foremost, you're gonna go and create your account. I'm providing you guys all these different links within my description. In this case, you can get 40 free listings by using this link. Again, it's going to be in the description. So you don't need an LLC when starting out. You just need to have a bank account. My recommendation is that you set up a shop in the US if possible, or if you're in Europe. If you're in a different country, there's other businesses that can help you set up an LLC or a business in the UK or in the US, and I'll create a completely different video to share some insights there. But overall, you want to have a store name, and it really can be anything you like. Just make sure that the store name is anywhere between 40 to 20 characters long. Don't include space or special characters. Make sure that it's a name that's not already being used on Etsy, no trademark infringements, and no profanity. So come up with a name that is general enough and is going to work for you. It could have the word jewelry, it could have the word personalized. Like, don't overthink it. Just come up with something that feels good to you, because the following can be adjusted in the future. So again, it's not that big of a deal. Then the second step is I want for you to make sure that you add a banner, and then you add a bio, a photo, and then most importantly, that you have like an about section. So in this case, I shared an example of a store who created this about section. They talked about how they started their business during the pandemic. So this can give you some insight. Having an about section helps because it makes your customer trust your store. So make sure that you actually spend some time creating this about section, adding a photo as well. And it could just be a photo of your logo. That's totally fine. Make sure as well that you set up all your policy. You answer questions about processing, shipping, and return policy. Make sure in the return policy that you explain to individuals that because your item is made to order, they should email you first, but overall you only send replacement. And, again, focus on telling your story, your business story. All right, so I'm going to walk you through some of the basics of Etsy. And again, this is a dummy store. I don't use the store. This is mainly for instructional purposes, right? So when you're setting up your store, you're going to set it up right here. This is where you're going to add the logo. This is where you're going to add a photo of yourself or the logo that you want to add for your store. I recommend that you just do the logo. That usually works. And then if you go down, you're going to add all these frequently asked questions. So make sure to go through the due diligence of doing that based on what the shipping specification and fulfillment specification of the print-on-demand supplier that you're using. And then the other thing is make sure to set up shop policies as well. In this case, I have not set it up. So important for you to set all this up when you are starting out. Another thing that I want to call out is make sure that you set up your payment settings as well when you're setting up your information. And then also the legal and tax information is going to be very important for you to set up so your account does not get banned, because that's something that can happen. So make sure that you have everything completely filled out. The next step is creating a logo. You can simply go on canva.com/logo maker. Again, don't spend a lot of time trying to create a logo. Make it really simple. This is something that can be adjusted in the future. So overall, I want you to spend your time coming up with your store name, the about section, your store policy, and the rest. You can blaze through it just so you can have your store set up. Now, step 2 is you're going to pick a print-on-demand supplier that you want to work with. Majority of these suppliers can integrate directly on Etsy, except for My Easy Monogram. And this is just a few examples. There's plenty more out there, but I'm going to share my top favorite. So my first top favorite is Shineon. I've included an affiliate link. The following is just simply helping my YouTube channel. So again, this is added in the description. The reason I love Shineon is because they sell luxury watches and also luxury jewelry, right? So these are items that have cubic zirconia. They're actually high quality jewelry. They are stainless steel coated with 14 or 18 karat gold, whether it's white or gold. And then additionally from that, it's really easy for you to set this up with Etsy. You can easily add your message card, and Shineon will provide you with a library of images that you can easily add on Etsy. They also have a library of videos that you can use. The other reason why I love Shineon is simply because the profit margins are much higher. So essentially, when you're selling an item that is a base cost of anywhere between $19 to $15, and you can resell it for $49 to as much as $50 to $60, the profit margins are really there. So that's going to help you to have a successful business in the long run. Another option is Gelato. Personally, I love Gelato because they have suppliers in 33 plus countries. So you're not just limited to selling in the US. They have suppliers as well in Asia, in the United Emirates, etc. So now, obviously, Etsy is not open in all these different marketplaces. This is something, if you're interested in perhaps scaling in the future and opening your own Shopify store, that could be an option. However, what I really like about Gelato as well is that they offer wall art, which has high profit margins. They're also offering wallpaper. There's phone cases. So you really have a lot of different products that you can sell directly with Gelato, and they're extremely reliable. Another option as well is T-Launch. It also integrates directly with Etsy. They have metal art, which I highly recommend. With T-Launch, you can essentially upload your own SVG file, meaning your own design, and they will create a customized, personalized sign just for you. They also have tapestries, poster, so anything really that's home decoration does really well. And they have other products and more catalog that you can check out. So again, T-Launch is another great option if you're looking to sell items that are home decoration. And then finally, another one that I wanted to share because it's not as well known, it's called My Easy Monogram. So unfortunately, they don't have an Etsy integration yet. However, you can add it directly to Shopify, and then you would need to use CED Commerce, which is a tool that enables you to take your listings from Shopify and upload them to Etsy. So this could be another option. So they have bottle openers. A lot of the items that they sell is actually metal art. So this is just another option. So what I want you to do is pick a print-on-demand supplier that makes sense for you. Please note, so for the purpose of this presentation, I'm mainly going to share how Shineon works, simply because that's the main supplier that I work with, and they represent 90% of my sales. So I'm going to share my insights specifically for you, but don't feel limited to just using Shineon. Based on your research and based on what speaks to you, just pick a different print-on-demand supplier you want to work with. And by the way, you can also add them all to your store. Like I've mentioned, don't limit yourself to just one category when you're starting out. So now let's talk about research. Overall, your goal when you're researching different products and different tags is you want to look at what people are actively buying. You want to understand what are the occasions and why are people buying, right? So is it because there's a holiday around the corner? So in this case, Christmas is around the corner. Is it because they're celebrating a wedding, an anniversary, a birthday? Is it to self-express themselves? Is it because having, for instance, a t-shirt about adoption rights, it's a way for them to describe themselves and say something about how they're viewing the world, right? So another thing I really want you to be conscientious of is you need to also look out for trends. So obviously with trends, you have to be careful because sometimes it's items that are trademarked and you can get your Etsy store suspended. However, there's ways of doing it where you wouldn't get suspended. Like that deserves a whole video of itself. However, it's important for you to also look out as to what is trending in the marketplace. The first thing I want you to be conscientious of is that you always need to look at Etsy as a way of solving a problem for your customer. So this example that I love to give is the Army Wife example. As you can see, the search volume for Army Wife is 40 1,500 per month. By the way, the tool that I'm using to see and get all the data of search volume is Keywords Everywhere, which is a Chrome extension, and I will include it as well within the description. So the case of the army wife, this could be a husband who's been deployed and it's his wife's birthday, or he wants to give her a gift for the holidays, etc. So in this case, what you want to do is create a gift that speaks to him. Clearly, he's in the army, so you want to make sure that he's obviously very patriotic, or she. So you want to ensure that you have elements within your design that are flags or items that feel patriotic overall, and that really speaks to them, right? Additionally, from that, you need to ensure that you have a message in which it speaks to what they're going through, right? So for instance, one of the message card here says, a soldier doesn't fight because he hates what is in front of him. He fights because he loves what he left behind. So essentially, I'm fighting not because I hate what's in front of me, but because I love my wife or I love my family, etc. I'm fighting for my country, right? So this is speaking psychologically to someone who is deployed, because obviously this is their life. So overall, when you're looking at creating listings, it's important that the first question you ask yourself is, what problem am I solving? What is this customer who's going on Etsy? What are they actively looking for? What are they looking to purchase? Is it a wedding gift? Is it a birthday gift? Is it a holiday gift? And then you need to also look at the customer persona and understand what kind of customer is buying this gift, right? So all these different elements are actually extremely important for you to have successful listings. Then you also need to be conscientious of gift trends. So in this case, obviously, I did a quick search on eRank. And by the way, this is erank.com, where you can get a lot of the different data of keywords that, first of all, you're going to look at search volume. So it's going to tell you how much traffic a keyword is bringing to Etsy, whether it's through Google or Etsy, inside of Etsy. And then it's also going to tell you how this keyword is trending. So in this case, daughter gift, we can see that there's a spike during Christmas. Why? Because during Christmas, chances are, moms and dad are buying gifts for their daughter, right? So during the holiday, usually you give gifts to your children or to your immediate family. So that's another thing you need to be conscientious of, right? Like all keywords that you're leveraging, they're going to have different trends throughout the year. The wedding season is usually really proactive during, I would say, spring all the way through fall. Obviously, it's an evergreen niche, but there's times where that's peaking. So ensure that you're looking at trends as well and understand when keywords are trending. Then another thing you want to look out is bestsellers within the marketplace, right? So metal art, we know, does really well. This is an example of an item that is a bestseller. This is a personalized family name metal sign. You could sell this with My Easy Monogram or T-Launch. And again, this is going to give you some insights as to what people are actively purchasing on Etsy. So that's why it's important to also spy on your competition and get a sense as to what people are actively buying. And if you're seeing a listing like that, again, you don't want to copy this listing. You need to find a way to make this listing even better, right? And it could be perhaps going after a specific niche or having a different design. Like all of this is going to be informed by the data you find when you're searching Etsy and you're also searching eRank. And overall, when you're going on eRank, what I want you to do is to look out for keyword opportunities, right? So in this case, I did a quick search for anniversary, and we could see first year anniversary gift for wife has a very low competition and a decent Google search. You want to make sure that the Google searches are at least above 1,000, meaning that's 1,000 people who are actively looking for those kind of gifts. Pastor's wife is another potential opportunity. Military wife, as we can see, this is a recurring theme. Army wife, military wife. So those are potential niches that if I were to sell on Shineon, right, and create my message card, then I would start coming up with different message cards for 1-year anniversary gift or military wife, for instance. So really what I want you to do is think cohesively as to what kind of customer is going on Etsy, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is you're going to go on eRank and you're going to start inputting all these different potential niches. And you can start with immediate family, right? Because overall, you are selling gifts if you're doing Shine On. So to my daughter, to my wife, to my niece, to my dad, to my son, grandson, granddaughter, like immediate family. Start inputting all of that within eRank and start looking for those keywords that have low competition, but a search volume that's above 1,000. So that's where I want you to start. And then based on that, then you're going to go back on Etsy and you're going to look at what other sellers are selling, whether it's other Shine On seller or other jewelry sellers or even other t-shirt sellers. What you're trying to get a grasp of is there any designs that are currently trending? Is there any phrase that's currently trending? You're going to try to dissect as well why a specific item is currently selling, right? And so based on all this data, this is how you're going to come up with your own listings. Now, step 4 is I want you to start coming up with design. And you can easily do that by creating, especially if you're doing Shine On, you're going to create a custom design and you're going to make it 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. So you literally just go on Canva, do create design, and you're going to do 1,000 by 1,000. You want to ensure that you have some space available for the jewelry. And then also when you're coming up with these phrases, there's a concept called Frankensteining. And essentially what that involves is looking at when you've done all your research and spied on your competition, you want to see as to what are some of the phrases that are actively selling. And then you want to go ahead and take a little bit of all these different bestsellers and create your own. And you can also change it around by using AI copywriting tools. And there is a plethora of different AI copywriting tools. You could literally include the message and have it rewrite it for you. So those are just some example of creating these best-selling message that you're going to include for your message cards, right? And so here are some design elements as well that I'm going to give you. Another one is creativefabrica.com. What I love about Creative Fabrica is that it's actually pretty cheap and they provide you with different vector files that you can easily integrate as well within Canva, right? So another thing you want to make sure when you're creating your designs, if you have Canva Pro, you can actually use a majority of the elements, but just make sure that the elements that you are providing or adding within your message cards, or even if you're adding it within a t-shirt, make sure that it's not trademarked. Most of the time it isn't, but just do your due diligence. When you're creating message cards as well for Shine On, it doesn't have to be extremely complex when it comes from a design perspective. But however, I wanted to give you this option because I personally love Creative Fabrica. There's a plethora of graphics that you can leverage here. Another option is for you to go on Fiverr and hire someone who has experience with creating a Shine On. And you can even actually ask them to create Canva templates for you. So that's another option. Overall, when it comes to creating designs for Shine On, there's a couple things that I want to share with you. And this is actually a design guideline that I give to my virtual assistant team. So overall, you want to make sure that the headline is clear and it's within the necklace. Like that's a personal favorite because it's important for your customer to understand who this gift is for, especially when they're going on Etsy looking at your listing, right? Then the body, make sure again that it's not covered by the necklace. However, it's going to be really hard for your customer to read it. Make sure that you're also using fonts that are very legible. And you also want to make sure that you have a signature. Love your mom, love your daughter. This is just, it needs to feel like a Hallmark card, right? Like that's kind of what you want to go after. Make sure that you are creating Hallmark cards when you are creating Shine On messages. Because overall, what you are selling more than the product is you're selling emotion. Whether it is you're selling metal art or t-shirts, you are selling emotions. So now there's a couple things that I want to break down when it comes to the anatomy of creating a listing that's going to win for you. First and foremost, it's important that you spend time and energy in having a design that feels luxurious, right? It needs to feel high end. This example here in this case, obviously the font works. Like this feels like high end. I would definitely spend $50 more on this item, right? You need to also ensure that all your images are front facing because it needs to be easy for the customer to read your listing when you're competing with other listings, right? So it needs to be easy for them to read it. It needs to feel luxurious. Additionally, from that, when you're creating the title, make sure that you include these important keywords, right? Those tags you would like to rank for. So in the case of first year anniversary, if I were to create an anniversary gift, I would make sure that I would write within my title, to my wife, first year anniversary necklace, right? Because I want to ensure that I'm ranking for that item. I'm also going to add this keyword specifically in the description. And I'm also going to obviously add it within my tags. Now, another thing that a lot of folks don't talk about is you need to ensure as well that you're adding all 13 images. When you are on Shineon, you will see that there's the ability for you to add more images within the Shineon platform. So make sure at all costs that you add 13 images. It's going to help you from an SEO perspective. It's not a must, but it does help. Additionally, from that, adding video can also extremely help from an SEO perspective, simply because Etsy likes listings that have videos, and people like listing with videos because it helps them further understand what the gift looks like. So it's going to also help your conversion rate. If you don't have videos that are readily available, something that you can easily do is go on Canva and you can actually create videos by adding different images and it will create videos for you. So that's another little hack that you can use. Now let's go through the anatomy of creating a listing. So when you create a Shineon listing, so in this case, I don't have the 13 images here, but you want to make sure, like I've mentioned, that you have an image that's front and center. So this image is actually a little better. I've included in this case, the fact that it's a birthday gift. So actually this listing here does not have enough keywords. So that's something I would need to fix. I would need to add, based on what my research tells me, like, so if this is a daughter gift, it could be a birthday gift, it could be a wedding gift, like there's just a lot of different occasions. So make sure that you add the niche that you're going after, the occasion, and then other keywords that perhaps are doing well. So sentimental gift is a potential tag that I've seen does really well in bringing traffic. So that's something I would add as well within the title. In this case, I would add a video. Make sure that your category is all set up. So jewelry, and when you set up your shop, all this is going to be set up for you specifically. So, and don't worry, when you're working with different print-on-demand supplier, the category will usually change accordingly because the apps, when they're integrated, it will tell Etsy what the specific category is. The other thing you want to make sure is that within your description as well, you add different keywords that are pertinent for items that you're trying to rank. So again, give you the example of the 1 year anniversary gift. You want to make sure that you're adding that within the description. So this is a great gift for your wife for first year anniversary gift, right? And in this case, the tags. So in this case, I don't have it here, but you want to make sure that you add all the tags based on your research on eRank, and you've add all the 13 tags, because again, this is what Etsy's looking at when it's ranking your item. It's looking at description, title, tags. It's ensuring that your listing is complete by looking at the amount of images that you have, the fact that you have a video, etc. So this is kind of like a quick rundown of what is necessary for you to start publishing your items. Now let's discuss how you're going to bring traffic to your store. So there's two ways, right? First is the organic way. So through Etsy, Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, so any social media channels, right? And then there's a paid way through Etsy ads, TikTok ads, Facebook ads, Pinterest ads. But before I discuss the paid opportunities, first and foremost, I really want to stress the fact that Etsy is actually a very, very powerful search engine. So if you're not getting sales, it's actually not so much the traffic, the issue. The issue is because your listing is not resonating with your demographic, and also perhaps you're not using the right tags. So first and foremost, I want you to start aggressively uploading as many listings as possible. I would say you want to make sure that you upload at least 50 listings when you're getting started. Why? Because first and foremost, you're trying to understand what's going to actually appeal to the demographic. You want to have as many options as possible. You want to also start understanding where there's opportunity from a keyword perspective and what's going to drive traffic for you. So before you spend any time bringing additional traffic, I want you to start actually spending the time uploading as many listings as possible, because trust me, Etsy is a very powerful search engine. And the majority of my sales, actually, I don't usually do paid ads. I only do paid ads during big holidays to kind of help boost things up. But overall, what I always tell my students or people in my community is that first and foremost, you want to ensure that you're getting sales. Because if you're throwing in marketing and you're putting effort into bringing traffic, it's almost like trying to put gasoline in an item that doesn't have fire, right? You need to make sure that you have a little bit of a fire in order for the gasoline, which is marketing, for it to work, right? So if you just don't have any sparkles and you don't have any fire, then do not spend your time doing marketing. I rather have you spend your time back in the drawing board, doing your research, looking at eRank, looking at other competitors, looking at where there's opportunities in the marketplace, uploading listings, and really crafting your ability to create listings that are really going to resonate with your demographic from an emotional standpoint. Because again, you always need to make sure that you're speaking to the reptilian brain of your customer, right? So you need to sort of create this need for your customer to purchase your listing, right? So first and foremost, I want you to focus on organic traffic. So first, Etsy. Once you start getting traction and you're like, oh, this listing is doing really well, then my recommendation is to start creating pins on Pinterest. And not to where I'm going to walk you through how to do that, but essentially you want to make sure that you create pins weekly and idea pins. So pins and idea pins. And idea pins can easily be created by, again, using Canva. Canva now, it really is such a powerful tool and enables you to create really any form of social media assets that you need. And you can easily do that by adding different images, right? Instagram is nice to have. Personally, I don't use Instagram for my Etsy store and I don't use TikTok, but if that's something you're interested in dabbling with, I encourage you to do that. For me, it's just a lot of time and effort that it just doesn't make sense from a ROI, so return on my investment. Usually what I do is that I start with Etsy, then I will boost my listing with organic Pinterest traffic. And once I see something's actually doing really well, then I'll start playing with ads. And I'll start with Etsy ads by providing you can start with a really small budget when you're doing Etsy ads. By the way, you can start with $10 a day and then ramp it up. Make sure that when you do Etsy ads, you look at your ROAS, return on your investment. When you go on your dashboard on Etsy, within the Etsy Ads Manager, it's going to tell you exactly how your item is converting. If the conversion rate is below 2, and you'll see it'll strictly tell you, then shut down the ad. That's my overall recommendation. With doing TikTok and Facebook ads, so by the way, when you're doing those kind of ads, I really recommend that you are at a point, usually you already have a Shopify store. I'll explain to you why. Simply because when you are running those kind of ads, first of all, you want to have a pixel, and you're going to add that pixel within your Shopify. Again, this is a little bit more advanced. And the reason being as well is because you can control the traffic better when you are actually spending money on the traffic. So if you want to stay on Etsy, do Etsy ads. And if you're looking to scale and start getting more traction, because that's the thing as well with TikTok and Facebook and Pinterest ad, it really allows you to have those 6-figure months, especially during the holidays. So this is more advanced, but this is something I wanted to share with you guys. So overall, like I've mentioned again, you really need to make sure that you're focusing on Etsy organic traffic, right? Make sure that you're adding those 13 tags to your listing. So although tag information is going to be available for you on eRank, make sure that you also add 13 images. It's going to help you from an SEO perspective. Add video, add description with those keywords you're trying to rank for. So 1 year anniversary, make sure that that specific keyword is within your title. And then make sure that you have professional photos. So that's a beauty with print on demand. Usually most of these suppliers have really professional photos. Sometimes you can buy your own flat lays, or you can actually look for them on Canva, and you can add your product within those flat lays to make your product stand out a little more. But I really want you to focus on SEO, so search engine optimization within Etsy, and then always look at your dashboard within Etsy to review your analytics. So then the second thing is, I want you to go and create a Pinterest business account when you are looking to drive organic traffic to your Etsy store, right? So you're going to create a Pinterest business account, and then you're going to claim your website. Really what you're claiming is your Etsy store. And there's actually a way for you to do that directly on Etsy in the marketing section. I'll show you that quickly. And overall, what you want to do is you want to create pins, and you want to create idea pins. Idea pins are performing really well. Pinterest has been aggressively promoting those. So those are going to get you a decent amount of traction. Make sure that every time you're creating those pins, that it's linking back to your Etsy store, that it's linking back directly to the listing that you are promoting. And by the way, you can promote multiple times the same product. So, and you can have different angles, right? So, the gift for the military, for instance, like to a military wife, you could have a headline that says anniversary gift for military wife. You could have it say birthday gift. Like, you could have different headlines in order to appeal to different demographic, and you can post multiple times. If you aggressively post a listing and you do it consistently, it's definitely going to drive traffic, you will see. So when you go on Etsy, you're going to see a section that says marketing, and you're essentially going to connect your Pinterest. Make sure that before you connect your Pinterest that you've already created a business Pinterest account, right? And then the beauty of it as well is that Etsy provides you with the option to go ahead and promote your listings directly on Etsy. Social media is where you're essentially going to go, and then you're going to go to social accounts, and this is how you're going to connect your Pinterest. And as you can see, once I've done that, I'll be able to share specifically some of my listings and also do self-promotion. So I recommend that you share it on Etsy, but I also recommend that you create your own pins directly on Pinterest when you are promoting your items. And overall, now you have all the basic knowledge needed for you to start creating your Etsy store right after watching this video. And again, I wanted this video to be really to the point, because my goal is not to overwhelm you with information, but to give you everything you need in order to get started. A couple of things that just people don't teach in general. I really cannot stress enough the importance of having products that are high profit margin. Even if let's say you're looking to sell t-shirts, make sure that you sell t-shirts in bundles, simply because when you're selling with Printify or Printful, which are other print on demand supplier, just to give you an example, part of the problem is that these t-shirts are selling for $15. That's around the base cost, right? $10 to $15. And so a t-shirt, yes, you can sell it for $30. However, it's all usually like not bringing you a lot of profit, right? We're speaking of $15 profit. So that's something you really need to keep into consideration. Try to keep your profits above $20, ideally $30, even better, because you're going to be experiencing a lot of different fees, right? Especially as you scale your business. So there's going to be the Etsy processing fee. There's the listing that's 20 cents. And yeah, by all means, like starting a business on Etsy is a cheaper option. However, like you need to make sure that you're building a business, right? So, and you do that by having healthy profit margins, especially when you start running ads. Having those healthier profit margins are going to help you as well. Another thing is, not all design sells. You need to make sure that you're looking at what's actively selling, right? You need to do your research. You need to spy on the competition. That's going to inform what is selling. So, you can't just post an item of a Buddha simply because you like Buddhas and you've told yourself, oh, Buddhas would sell. Like that, it's not, like, forget your gut instinct. You need to look at data. Data is king when you are doing any type of online business, whether it's Amazon FBA, drop shipping, etc. So make sure that you're actively looking at what is selling and inform your decision based on that. Additionally, from that, you want to solve a problem. Every time you're looking at a listing, that is selling well, bestseller, the little exercise that I recommend that you do is you dissect and understand why that specific listing is doing well. So what kind of demographic it's going after, what's the persona of this individual, like why is this person interested in this listing? What is it adding to their life, right? So kind of break it down. It's also going to help you create stronger listing that really speaks to your demographic, because you're essentially tapping into their psychology, right? You're tapping into that reptilian brain. So again, going back to the example of the military wife, essentially the reason that gift speaks to them is because it's making them feel like they have purpose, and it's reinstating that to their close ones, etc. It's telling them, hey, I'm fighting for the country, but don't worry, because I'm fighting for the country. Remember that I love who I'm doing it for the people that I love, right? For my family, for the close members of my family. And another thing that you need to also keep into consideration is the whole concept of surf trending. So you can use a tool like Google Trends to look at different items that are trending. I'm going to give you a very broad example, right? And again, when you're surf trending, it's important to be conscientious as well of items that are trademarked. So there was a point in time where I was selling friends, anything that had like friend quotes on Etsy. And again, I got a slap in the wrist, and all these listings ended up going down. But at one point, it was extremely trending. It was trending really well. And so I got a few sales, and I was able to sort of ride the wave, right? But again, you have to be really careful and make sure that you are not using items that are trademarked. But surf trending is also a very powerful way to create a listing that will go viral, and it's going to enable you to get those additional sales. So that's just another hack or method to get additional sales, like surf trending. But there's also the evergreen niches. And evergreen niches, again, could be birthday, could be baby showers, could be graduation. No, actually graduation is a specific event, but it would be like baby shower, wedding, birthdays, retirement. So those are gifts that people are giving to their loved ones throughout the year, essentially, right? And then there's different occasions. So whether it's Christmas, that's an occasion, or another one is Mother's Day, etc. So what I recommend that you do as well is that you go on Printful.com and you do a quick search. They actually have a holiday calendar, which you can download. And you can actually look at all the different up and coming holidays. So you make sure that you have all these listings created for all these holidays. And then the next thing you want to do as well is having an understanding of all the different potential niches that you can sell to. And you're going to, again, get all this data through erank.com. eRank is my favorite tool when it comes to research and doing research for Etsy. It's only $5. Highly recommend. I personally love that tool. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any question, make sure to add them in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer them or create a specific tutorial video just for you. Additionally from that, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and drop a like, as it helps my video getting discovered. Thanks for watching, and until next time.